Welcome to Secrets of Booked Out mini sessions. Today, we're going to be talking all about booking yourself solid with mini sessions as a photographer. You're going to learn the common mistakes that photographers make when selling and promoting their sessions, ways to get visible for free, and secrets to booking mini sessions all year around. Okay, so buckle up, it's gonna be good. Today, I am joined by my friend and photographer, Kayla Brent. She is a mom, photographer, obviously, a speaker, and a natural light studio owner in Texarkana. She is the best at all things booking out minis, and so I am so excited for you guys to hear what she has to say, but to also ask any questions that you have that might come up as we talk. So if you're watching live, drop a 1 in the comments and let me know if you've ever offered minis or if you plan to offer minis in the future. Or if you're watching in the replay, just leave a 2 and answer that same question. So I would love to hear any questions that come up for you as you're going through all of this. All right, so Kayla, I'm going to hand it over to you. We're going to jump in like straight to the good stuff. I know recently you set mini sessions out into the world and sold them out for sessions that you had actually never marketed before, that you didn't have
100%.
images to market, like that specific type of mini session.
No.
So tell me about this. How did you do this?
So it's really funny the timing of you asking me to come on this because I just got out of the thick of it. Like I just did all of this. And so it's fresh on my mind and I'm so excited to share about all things minis. But yes, the sold out session, just sold one out within 24 hours. And I've never done one before. And I didn't even do like a mock up of it or like try to, no, I was just like, hey, I'm doing it. Now, I will be clear. It's a Santa session. So, like, I mean, Santa has his own like vibe to it. Like, he's
Yes.
Santa, he's cool. But I've never done a Santa session in my life, especially
Okay.
not here at the studio. So if you are watching live or watching later, drop in the comments if you do Santa sessions. Would love to give me some advice on, what to expect and what not to. That would be a lot of fun to interact with. But I'm doing Santa for the first time. I just posted out in the world and it's sold out. And also I have another session, my Simply Christmas session, which is it's minus Santa pretty much. I've done for years and it's sold out as well. So I figured out throughout the years that there are certain things, especially me being in a small town, that have worked for mini sessions and some things that haven't worked for mini sessions. So the stuff I'm gonna be going over, just know that I live in a small-ish town, so it would work for you, but it would also work for a big town as well. But I know a lot of people, that's their hesitation with minis. They're like, I don't have a lot of people here. I'm like, I don't either. So we're going to dive into that. And I have 4 different things that I'm going to be going over. First is like the selling in and of itself. Like we're going to talk about the selling of it, the dates, which dates you should be talking about and which ones you shouldn't. I'm going to get there. The booking site itself and Facebook, how I use Facebook, which by the way, everything I've done to sell out my sessions has all been free. I don't use Facebook ads. I don't do any of that. Um, so
Oh, this is going to be so good. I'm so excited about this.
it's gonna be
Okay.
good.
And I know
I
people are too. There's already some people in the comment section saying where they're listening in from and that they're really excited. So I can't wait. Go ahead, jump straight into what you have, and I will kind of chime in if there's any questions that kind of pertain to what you're talking about. But guys, as you're listening, leave your comments, leave your questions, and we'll definitely get to them at the end or in the replay.
Yes. I do want to preface with this that for the longest time, I had my nose up in the air for mini sessions. Like, I was like, no, like, no. The answer is no. I hated them. And probably for the same reasons a lot of other people hate them. You tend to get the bargain shoppers, the people who don't appreciate and value your work. Like, there's a whole laundry list of reasons the whole day. It's hard. The logistics is hard of it. So there's a lot of things. I was that person. And now it is literally something that I look forward to every single year. Every time they come up, I am looking forward to them. And that like checks the box. Like that's why I work for myself. That's why we have businesses. We need to look forward to what we're doing. So I do want to say that. And the reason why I enjoy them is because of some of the things that I have done, which I'm going to start going over now. The first thing, selling. When you're selling your sessions, especially if you're in a small town. And I know bigger towns, there's even more photographers, but this really helps me is to sell way in advance. When I say way in advance, I sold Santa sessions in July. I sold Simply Christmas sessions in August. So what that does is, first off, in the past, I had sold them in a more reasonable time, like November-ish, and people would come up to me and be like, "Oh darn, like I would have loved to known that you were doing this, but I already booked with somebody else." It wasn't that they wanted me, but I didn't beat them to the punch. And it's not that you're like in a race with these photographers, there's enough room for us all, but the people who want you need to know what you're doing. And so by putting it way, way, way in advance, that really, really sets you up for success. And honestly, I'm just talking about Christmas because I just got out of it. This can be for any time of the year, but Christmas in particularly, there's money flying all over the place. That is a time that people are spending a lot of money. Let's go ahead and take a little pressure off of that and go ahead and get their money in July, in August, kinds of things. So selling way in advance, it beats the others. That's huge. And then my next one is the dates. Everybody, this is something I see a lot. Every time that people post mini sessions, they are always talking about their date of the session. They're like, "Hey, we're doing this Christmas session on November 30th. I'm so excited." You see November 30th everywhere. Y'all, that is not the date that's important. Yes, it's important. We need to make sure they come. But remember, we're posting this in August. They don't have plans in August on what's going on November. You set that date up. That's not the date. The date that needs to be important and the one that you need to push is the one that you are opening up registration for. When is registration opening for these? When can they secure their spot? It's a mini session, which also means it's a limited session. So really, really pushing that date over the day that it's happening. That's in the fine details. They will go find that date. But what they need to know is when the registration is going. And you need to think of this as a mini session. You're going to be launching it. You're going to have, it's not just, "Hey, I'm doing this on this date, like sign up." No. We are going to get people excited about the registration of it. Hey, be one of the first to pick your spot, highlight the things that they get. Whenever you're the first to book, you get to pick the best time that works for your kids, which is a big deal, especially if you have young ones around nap time. Those go quick. So really pushing the registration date and making sure that you launch this out. And don't just think of it as a one-off Facebook post. That is huge. So, and then my third thing is the booking site. Whatever booking site you decide to use, make sure this is one feature you need to have. You've got to have this feature. And it's that it shows all the sessions. So say you have 20 sessions from like 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It needs to show all the sessions, and the ones that are gone need to have that they are sold out, that they are gone. Because think about from the customer, the client's point of view, whenever they're booking, whenever they go to that site, it feels very different to go to your site, register, and it have only 4 spots pop up, the 4 that are left, and that's all they're seeing. Then having 20 spots pop up, 16 of them are blacked out or sold out, and 4 are left. So that scarcity, that scarcity.
Yeah.
And tip, this one's free, tip, what you do also, put your lunch break in there. That's a session. Go ahead and put that on there. Mark that joker is sold out. Do it.
Such a good idea.
Yes, it is a time. It is on your calendar, and they cannot book that. Go ahead, put that in there, and mark that out. So the booking site, I use Big Cartel, but literally it does not matter. use the one that works best for you that
Yeah.
has that. And I've only tried Big Cartel. I know there's a lot of other ones out there that are really, really great.
Yeah, I just dropped a link for BookFocal because I recently like built out a mini session checkout cart on BookFocal, and I loved the way that it displayed. I like that they first choose the date and then they see all the available times, and then you can set the minis and they immediately pay while they're booking. And so I just love the way that this looked. So yeah, I will put that down in the description section. I'll have that in the links. This is so, so powerful. Everything you're saying here, Kayla, is so, so good. So I love what you said about redirecting them away from the date of the session to really getting them into this mindset of get ready to book, get them more involved with like the date that the sessions are released. It's almost like you're getting them on a wait list. And that kind of made me wonder, like, have you ever done a wait list? Have you ever had like an interest list and then open it up only to a wait list?
You are so good, Joy. Like you just went into my fourth point. Like,
Okay, sorry. I won't jump ahead.
Like you do this so good. No, that's a great segue. The answer to your question is actually no. I have not personally done a wait list. I have contacted my clients that like have booked in past years and like been like, hey, I'm doing this again. You know, they get kind of first dibs on it. But what I do, since we are pushing the registration date and we're letting people know, hey, mark your calendars for August 3rd. On August 3rd, you'll be able to sign up for your Santa session or your Christmas session or whatever it may be. What I do, and this is something I figured out when I first started doing minis. So if you're new to it, you need to listen to this. But even if you're not and you're not seeing the bookings that you want, this works. I made a Facebook event. So I made an event page, not like a group. I didn't put it on my page. Well, I did share it to my page, but I made an event, Facebook event for the registration. So I didn't have a wait list, but I had like all the people who were interested could all go to this event page. And then that's where I shared like the benefits and why it's great and like what I'm doing, what it all includes, how many edited digitals, all of that detail was there. And I got them excited about it and let them pushing scarcity. Like I'm doing this one day only. There's only this many spots. Talked about that in the Facebook event because Facebook, and I know social media, it's always ever evolving and ever changing. Something that has stayed consistent with Facebook is they've always loved and pushed events. Always.
Yes.
And that's not anything it's not anything that's like Facebook pages have come and gone. Groups they've had peaks and valleys. Facebook events, they have always been a big deal. So they want people talking about it. And it's just kind of like fun to see who's all interested and answer their questions there. So that was my big, huge fourth takeaway is to create a page, talk to your people there, push that. Facebook will automatically like push it more than just a post and have that go into your personal page and to your like your business page on Facebook. So those are my 4 tips to getting you some sold out mini sessions.
I love this so much. And the thing that I love about the Facebook event is it's free, it's visually compelling. And I think it's so often that we share that stuff. Cause I know there's a fall festival coming up here in my local community. And I shared it to my sister-in-law. I was like, let's go, let's take our kids. And that's just like what you do. It's like following the natural human behavior on these platforms and then leveraging it for your photography business, which is like so smart, so good. I love this. Okay. So, do you have anything else to share or should I dive into my questions?
Well, like one thing I do want to add about the Facebook events, like a big thing or a big like with mini sessions is you have like shoppers, like price shoppers. They want them because they're cheaper. Y'all have all seen the reel or the little meme that's like, got any more of those mini sessions? Like I felt that to my core when I saw that. But what happens with the Facebook event, you want them in there. Let them price shoppers mark interested. They are interested. They want to just know how much it is. By the way, I don't disclose my price until it is booking, unless somebody specifically asks me. And they ask me, I will tell them. It's not that I'm being secretive. It's that I want those price shoppers to mark interested on the event. They mark interested on the event. That just helps me. I don't care if they book or not. We just want to push the event to our community, to the people who really do want to see it. So
that's so helpful. Okay, so you talked about photographers not promoting these sessions far enough in advance. And that's a really common pitfall. Do you have any other common pitfalls that happen in terms of like the way that they're positioning these mini sessions that almost ensures that they're going to get the price shoppers, they're not going to be booked out? Like, are there any other things that come to mind that you're like, don't do this?
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do another one of these. Like that's a topic in and of itself. But the one that comes to mind first is when people call them mini sessions. And here's the thing: do people love it? Do they love it whenever they see a photographer post a mini session and call it a mini session? My fall mini, my Halloween mini, my back to school mini. People love that. Those are not the people that you want. Those are the ones who come back and those are usually not the people who value you as much. So the pitfall that I would avoid is calling it a mini session. Call it anything else. Leave out the mini part because it makes it a much more elevated experience, and you are not offering, or you shouldn't be. I hope that you're not offering less. You're just offering, if anything's less, it's just the time and maybe the images. You are still offering you. You're still offering your services. You're still offering your photography and your editing style and everything that's awesome about you. That, I think, putting mini on it devalues your craft, your art, all of those things. So don't call it a mini session, because then you will get people who do not value you. What you want instead is people who value you so much. Maybe it's not in their budget. You want the people who are like, oh, this is my time. I can get this. I'm going to be the person who sets my alarm. Those are the people that you really want. And there are those people. There are enough of those people, especially once you keep doing this over the years. You'll have people who sign up every year. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so helpful. I think calling them like a limited edition session, a seasonal session, a Christmas session, a Valentine's boudoir marathon, call it whatever you want.
Anything.
But kind of steering away from that mini I like that a lot, especially for the way that you display the checkout, really directing towards the value. What are they still getting? They're still getting amazing photographs, especially this time of year. I think a lot of families are looking for photographs for holiday cards. So when I'm putting myself in the position of the consumer, thinking like, what do I actually want? Like, I don't care what it's called. I just want you to make this as seamless for my family and give me beautiful images as possible so that I can then order those cards or get the wall art. Okay, my other question for you is kind of around like pricing. So pricing mini sessions, making sure that these are profitable, because sometimes I think that like with that like mini session title, then the price gets too low. Like sometimes I see what these photographers are charging. I'm like, wow, it's still a lot of work. And maybe they're able to like build in some upsells. So I'm curious if you can kind of speak to pricing, broadly, specifically, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then also like upsells, like what should we be thinking about in terms of like, is that price the price, or is there a totally another like realm that we need to be tuning into?
Yes. Well, Joy, more than anybody, you with coaching, how the hundreds of photographers, thousands on YouTube, pricing is not ever a one thing fits all. Like there are so many factors that go into pricing. There are where you live. Like I live in the South. Things tend to be cheaper here than they are in the North. So what I would charge and what somebody like you would charge, Joy, those might look different just based off of where you are or the size of town. So I'm not going to dive into the specifics because there's a lot of different factors to that. But what I will say about your pricing is how at the end of the day, like after you do them, take note of how you feel about the money that you got. Are you wanting to do it again next year? Is it worth it? Is it not? Like, do you feel good about the money that you received for that? That is just a big takeaway that I have, because when I book a mini session, I am like, this is the best thing ever. Like this is so much fun. I have fun with it. I'm paid well for my mini sessions, not nearly as much as my full sessions. That's okay. I'm doing it all day long. And it just has a different feeling to it. So
Mhm.
that is one thing on the initial pricing of it, like how you want to price it. Now, you talked about upsells.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part. This
I'm
is my
ready. I'm ready.
this is why you do mini sessions. So, like I said, I do pay in full. By the way, pay in full. I don't see any other reason why not to do that.
Mhm.
And they get like so many images included, like 5 images included at their price. Okay, so I get paid for that fully in July or August. Remember, these
Yeah.
aren't happening until November. I do an upsell of the full gallery. So
Okay.
they get 5. I take as many pictures I can, I edit them all, I give them a gallery, and they get an upsell and they can purchase the whole gallery. It's like
Okay.
you get your 5 or you get the whole gallery. So the reason that works, A, they get more pictures if they want them and they like them. And B, I get paid again. Like I
Yeah.
get paid again down the road. It's another opportunity for me to make really good money. And I'm not a numbers girl. Joey knows this. Don't ask me the stats. I'm like, how many people? Like, what's your ratio? I would say over 50%
Yeah.
get the upsell. Probably closer
Yes.
to 75.
At least.
And I've had many people tell me, how do people not? Can't tell you how many people are like, who doesn't? Are there
Mhm.
people who don't? Very few. There's very
Yeah.
few people who don't get the upsell.
I feel like every time we talk after you do a day-long marathon of sessions, whether these are the motherhood, what do you call your sessions? I want to hear moments of motherhood. Like
Moments of motherhood.
some of my favorite images that you take are the moments of motherhood sessions, and whether it's like holiday stuff or the moments of motherhood. Every time like we're talking just business after, I feel like you're saying, oh, and then these 12 people went and just upgraded the whole gallery. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like 12 more paychecks from not a ton more work, right? Like, are you editing these images?
Oh no. And I mean, if anybody wants to know my pricing, I'll give it to you. I don't want to give it here because I don't want people to think like that's what my pricing should be. Because honestly, my pricing in the South should not be what yours is, Joy, in Maryland.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I'm not saying it out loud. And my pricing is changing all the time.
Exactly.
So, but yes, and the thing is my initial booking for the 5 digitals is cheaper than the whole gallery. So if they get the whole gallery, they're giving me more money than they gave me originally.
You get paid
so
twice.
I get paid twice. And that's a lot of fun because of the fact that it's just like I enjoy them. I make more when I shot weddings, like way back in the day, way. I make more one day of minis and I edit them that day, by the way. Whenever they're gone, I edit them right then. I make double what I did with a wedding on one day. One day, and they have their images back and everybody's happy, hunky-dory.
Yeah, you have such a workflow about this that I love that you literally are like, when you leave your studio, Lane, she has the most beautiful studio. Go look up Kayla's website and her Instagram and go stalk. But like when you're leaving that studio, you're like, oh, everybody has their stuff. Everybody, like I'm done, like literally done. Not like, oh, I've sent it to an editor and I have to pay all this money. Like that is cash in your pocket, profit. I love it. And you mentioned a couple things that I felt like were so good. It was that gut check on your prices. Like after you do all this work, really look at what it costs. You also have to look at props. Like the cost of props can also be a lot, and sometimes photographers get sucked into like a really elaborate set or buying new props every single time they want to offer minis, and that can really eat into your profits. And so what I've loved is how simple sometimes you have made these sessions. Like the people are the point, not all the cheesy props, and you're still able to bring in such a healthy profit, and I just love that. Okay, I have another question for you. What are some other things, I guess, to go back to the upsells? Have you seen any other photographers do upsells differently than you? In-person sales for prints, like things that you're not doing personally, but you're like, hey, I love this, and this is another option to consider.
You know me, Joy. I'm like, I have my head so far in the sand. Like I'm just like doing my own thing. But like I honestly don't locally, I'm not positive exactly how they're doing it. I do know that people have done prints. I would say if people do prints, like let's say because I have done prints before. My best advice for doing prints is find some kind of something, whether it's your client management system. I use Sprout Studio and I love them, and they've just integrated this, but it needs to be something that'll automatically order and fulfill for you. Like, you do not want to have 100 prints that you have to order. That takes away the joy of all the money that you just made. Because that's work. That is work. Like making sure, okay, they wanted a 5x7. Kimmy looking this way. Oh, not this way. It was this number. But that could be your thing, unless that you love doing that. I despise that. So yes, you can upsell. Literally, the sky's the limit. I have toyed with the idea. I have never done them, but you can do like when they come in the studio, I'm looking at a table I have at the door of where I could display an album or have prints that could be for sale, ornaments. I've always wanted to do an ornament, but I've never found anything that was the process was simple enough. Like if I'm going to do it, if you're going to do a mini session, it's a mini session for yourself too. It can't be complicated. It needs to be easy. Otherwise you're not going to want to do them. I did not do them for literally 7 years after doing it the hard way and then coming back and being like, I call it cutting the fat on anything in my business and in my home and my life. I cut the fat. Everything I don't like, I take out. So that's why I don't do prints. I don't like ordering them. I don't do anything else. I don't like the backup. I like getting done at the end of the day, surprising and delighting them. They get them like literally the day that they did them, as fast as my internet will upload them. That's what I like. So
okay, I love this.
There are options, but it needs to be something that you like personally to do.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening to this right now and you do something different, please share it in the comments so that people can see what's possible. I think this would be a great conversation starter. This is so powerful and helpful. I love this so much. So I have a couple of questions that I'm seeing in the comments that I want to get to at the end, but I also kind of want to wrap up a little bit with asking you, beyond the free Facebook group, I have two final questions. Are there any like free ways that you have found that you think would be beneficial for other photographers to get the word out about their sessions if they feel like they are the best kept secret, nobody even knows, and then it's kind of too late?
Yes. Well, this can be free. It can be paid. It goes both ways. I pay for this because of my email list size. Y'all, the email list is big. It just is. It is so good. And I know a lot of companies like a MailChimp, email service provider, I think MailChimp being one of them. You can do them for free up to a certain number. Listen, that is where my local clients, they look at that first. Like they want to see that. And I have my email list is literally composed of people all over the world because I teach other things other than photography and I do other things other than photography. I literally send it to my whole list. And I've asked my list before about like, hey, you're way far away from me. Do you like this? Do you not? And they don't have a problem with it. They like seeing kind of like what I'm doing. Like, what are you doing in your studio? Even though I can't come. But so if that is a problem, you're like, already have an email list. They're not people that are here. My question would be, are there people that are there that would want it? Do it. So the email list is big. That is the first thing I do. The first thing I do is send it to my email list. I let them know that my bookings are open, even though probably 80% of them are not local to my town.
Yeah, I love that. And if you guys are looking for a starter guide to how to get started on email marketing as a photographer, and this is like a lot, I actually have a video about this. I will link it. You can go over and watch it, and it'll get you started with, different softwares that you might want to think about, how to get people on your email list, how to keep them engaged, and then how to actually start to sell to them. So I've got that covered. So my last question for you, Kayla, is can you offer mini sessions all year round? Or do you feel like this? Okay. Yeah. I'm like, because I feel like right this time of year. So right now, as the time of this recording, we're in October, we feel like the holidays are kind of coming up for us. And I think that's why this topic has been really popular in the Facebook group. But I'm kind of wanting you to talk a little bit about like getting outside of that. So if photographers feel like maybe it's a bit late for them to get like fall stuff way booked out, like if they haven't started promoting, they could really start to think about, Valentine's stuff or like the spring. And what do you have to say about like booking all year round?
Oh, 100%. So I have, let's see, I have two that I've been doing for many years now, and that is my Simply Christmas session, and then I have my Moments of Motherhood session. Moments of Motherhood is like mom with their children of any age, and that's around Mother's Day. And then, of course, Simply Christmas is around Christmas. So those are the two that I have done consistently for years now. And I've thrown other things into the mix. So I have one, they're kind of like bookend my years. But now I have thrown in the Santa session. And I'm not kidding, y'all. Like, I will go ahead and tell you, I have sold out my Simply Christmas sessions before. I thought my Santa session was going to hurt my Simply Christmas. And the only reason I did it, I'm letting y'all know the back of my mind, this is what's going on in my head. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old now, just turned 7 last week. And I want Santa pictures and I want to take them. I want them to be my style because my style looks the best in my house. So I was like, I'm going to hire Santa to come to my studio. And literally had already talked to him. And so he was coming to the studio. I was like, you know what? I might as well go ahead and open this up to the public. I might as well, and my thought was, I'll just get Santa paid for.
Or make a few $1,000.
Yeah, but Joy, I thought that I was going to kill Simply Christmas session. No, people are going to go to Santa because he's cool. Santa costs a lot of money, by the way. Simply Christmas cost me $0.0 for the most part. And Santa's expensive. And I was like, man, this is going to kill it. I ended up selling both of them out. So
that is interesting.
Limiting beliefs. So you can do them all year long, and make sure y'all are following along on my Instagram. I'm about to release another one, and it is so good. So good. I'm not going to say, I'm not breathe it to anybody but Joy. Do you remember what it is, Joy?
Off the top of my head right now, I'm going to be honest.
No.
But it's
okay, good.
No,
that makes it more fun. That makes it more fun. I have another one that is, will be launching around Black Friday. That might trigger it for you. It's going to launch around Black Friday. So yeah, it'll launch around there. Brand new. So do them all year long in your dry seasons too. That's why I did Moments of Motherhood. It's during my photography dry season.
I have seen photographers offer these in really different and refreshing ways. They've offered them as like headshot minis, outdoor, indoor brand minis. So for people who can't do like an all day brand photography session, they might do just one vignette, one setup, and you can get some like working shots of like whatever it is that you do. So like people have done these for pet photography. Like I've seen people do these in so many different capacities. So many options. Okay, I'm going to see if we have any questions.
Look back here. Of these things right here, these are my boys, by the way. In my studio, if you're in-person sales, I used to be one too. I don't do in-person sales anymore. I used to be huge advocate. I still am. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to like have in your studio like pictures of clients so they can see themselves in there. And I'm like, no. I work here every day. I have pictures of my children. But like these I do. That's all that's in here. So of my babies here, like you could have a graduation session. You could have, depending on the regulations of animals, you could do something with chicks. These are our personal chicks. And then there's a back to school back there. All of those, any session, I'm a motherhood photographer. So I do newborns, families, milestones, maternity. Everything I do is like for the mom. Anything that a mom could want, I can make it a mini session. Back to school pictures, mini session.
I love that.
Graduation, mini session. All of those things can be mini sessions if you need ideas to come up with. I know sometimes we get so close to our businesses, we're like, I don't know what to do. It can be endless. I've seen people do ice cream sessions, like get ice cream cute. And the kids get to like decorate them and eat them, and they're so cute. I do for my boys. I don't sell this, but for my boys, I every year watermelon's a big deal in the South, and we go get watermelons locally, and my boys get to eat the watermelon. I take pictures of it, and they are some of my favorites that I do with my boys.
Yeah, like now that you're saying this, I'm like, oh, you can do like cute food stuff or like arts and crafts with them. And like, I mean, there's so much, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So now it has my wheels turning. This is so cool. Okay, so I'm going back through and looking at some of the questions. So Cassandra said, hey, from South Carolina. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in live for all of you who have. Jessica asked, can you spell that out? What cartel? I think Big Cartel. Is that what you use?
Big Cartel. Yes. BIG Cartel.
Yeah.
Big Cartel. It's really a big cartel is usually and most commonly used for like inventory, like people have physical products, but it also works with for what I do. And that would be a whole nother talk, Joy, if we talked about how to implement big cartel. But it's not hard. It's
Okay.
very user friendly.
We'll have to do a part 2. Okay. And then Jessica also said, what site do you use to contact your clients? Is that the email marketing? Like, what are you using for email marketing, Kayla?
Oh, excuse me. Email marketing. As of now, I use Flowdesk. Flowdesk does cost. I don't think there's a free version of it. If you already have an established email, like you already have people, whether they are in your client management system or you have an email list elsewhere, I do recommend Flowdesk. But if you do not, MailChimp in the entrepreneurial world has kind of a bad rap because it can't do certain things that
Yeah. I started on MailChimp.
Yeah, like I did too. Everybody does.
Because it's free up until a certain point.
People hate on it, but I'm like, hey, it is a good launching point. It contacts people.
We were bootstrapping it, okay? There was not money in the bank back then, so we had to make it work. So I will link up Flowdesk in the description. Also, Lindy Ray asks, let's see, I'm sorry, I lost it. Oh, someone was asking, actually it was Cassandra. She was saying, how do you choose the photos? Do they pick them? Do you pick them or do they pick them? So for like the whole, okay.
Oh gosh, I've got to, Joy, I've got to come back.
We'll have to do a part 2. We'll have to do a part 2. If you enjoyed this.
I'll give the skinny.
Give me the skinny.
I use Sprout Studio. Huge shout out to Sprout Studio. I use Sprout Studio. And what I do is they get the full gallery and I give them a code. They can choose 5 and then it automatically like lets them choose 5 and check out with 5. Or they can purchase the whole gallery. So yes, they see the whole gallery, they get to choose their 5.
And then they're in love with the images of their sweet, sweet babies and they have to take them all because that would be me. I'd be like, take all of my money, please. Yes. And then
you put way more than 5, like way more, way more, like 20.
When they check out and they say, yes, I want all of these, can they also print their images through this gallery? Can they order prints?
Yes,
I love it.
They can.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This has been so good. I'm going to link up everything that we talked about and discussed. If you are watching in the replay and you have questions, we will be coming back. Like Kayla said, you can DM her and she will get you all the good details on stuff. And if you want her to come back for a part 2 and kind of, unpack some specific areas, please let us know, DM us or share this, like this, comment on it. Just up the engagements that we know it's worth coming back for. But thank you so much for being here, Kayla. This was amazing.
So fun.
So good. So fun.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing y'all's questions. Like Joy said, comment below. I will be looking at the comments and following up as well, if it's specifically for me. But you can also DM me on Instagram. That's where I hang out now that I'm not locked out. I hang out there and it's just my name, Kayla Brint with an I, Brint. So find me there, ask your questions. And I hope that you all have wonderful mini sessions in which you are not going to call it a mini session.
Yes. Okay. If there's one takeaway, it's that. This was amazing. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
You're the best. Bye.